Are you quietly keeping yourself broke without even realizing it? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are opening up a financial survival guide that is going to fundamentally change how you view the numbers sitting in your bank account right now. I'm going to adopt a first-person perspective for this one, stepping right into the shoes of the original source who actually tested 15 specific financial habits, just to see what would happen. And, spoiler alert, the results were completely life-changing. We're going to talk about the hidden traps, the incredibly sneaky habits, and the incredibly simple mindset shifts that take you from stressing out over every single penny to having total, undeniable financial control. And we're going to do it with a bit of humor, because honestly, some of the ridiculous ways we lose money are downright comical once you finally drag them into the light. Okay, let's dive right into this.
So, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or, maybe the $3,000 question, depending on your paycheck. You get paid on a Friday, you feel like royalty for a weekend, and by next Wednesday, you are staring at your phone screen wondering, where in the world did my salary go? Here is the first big confession from the source. And honestly, our first major hook for today, I used to genuinely think my main problem was just a low income. I would tell myself if I just make more money, I'll be totally fine. But the brutal, absolute truth I discovered is that income wasn't the actual problem. It was the hidden holes silently swallowing my money. I was literally leaking cash everywhere without even realizing it. I'm going to share these exact leaks with you today, and you absolutely have to stick around for the hilarious, frankly embarrassing disaster of forgotten subscriptions coming up in just a minute, because it was draining me absolutely dry.
Now, budgeting and tracking might sound incredibly basic, maybe even a little boring, but they are absolutely essential and incredibly difficult to actually execute. First up is the massive trap of estimating your expenses. Listen, estimating really just means guessing. You're lying to yourself. The exact moment you start writing down every single expense, your rent, gas, utilities, that random coffee, the guessing stops, and the leaks become glaringly, painfully obvious. You have to track every dollar in and out, not obsessively, but consistently, because most people don't actually have a money problem, they have an awareness problem. And then, oh man, there's the pure comedy of my own fast food habits. I was casually dropping $20 to $30 a day on drive-thrus without a second thought. I was literally handing my future wealth over for a burger and some fries. Cutting that daily habit down to maybe just once a month didn't just free up hundreds of dollars, it completely rebuilt my personal discipline. Stopping the guessing game and cutting out that convenience trap forces you to be intentional. Suddenly, careless spending starts to feel genuinely uncomfortable. Which brings us to the hilarious disaster I promised you earlier: forgotten subscriptions. Look, I used to treat these like background noise. Oh, it's just $8 here for this app. It's just $10 there for that streaming service. I'll get around to canceling it eventually. Individually, none of it looks like a threat at all. But when you finally sit down and add up all those old apps, the random gym memberships you never use, and those forgotten free trials that rolled over, it is deeply, deeply embarrassing. It's literally like having a bunch of uninvited guests quietly opening your fridge and eating your expensive cheese while you sleep every single night. And they never, ever stop. So I went in and canceled everything I didn't actively use. Because the truth is, small leaks really don't feel dangerous until you realize they are relentless. Cut them off, and immediately, the money just stops disappearing. But we have to acknowledge that not all leaks are just small, annoying subscriptions. Some are massive, heavy chains. Avoiding new debt is a monumental step in this journey. No more financing nonsense. No more telling yourself, I'll just pay it off later. That right there is exactly how people get trapped forever. This concept actually aligns incredibly well with the beautiful Islamic principles of avoiding the suffocating burden of unnecessary debt. For such a long time, society tries its absolute hardest to convince us that debt really isn't a big deal. They say, oh, it's just a low monthly payment, right? Wrong. Every single new payment quietly locks up your future income. It lays claim to money you haven't even woken up to earn yet. Debt doesn't just cost you extra money and interest. It literally costs you your freedom. It costs you those peaceful, deep slumbers at night. When you finally stop borrowing from your future self, you maintain your spiritual and mental peace of mind, and your finances actually start moving forward instead of just permanently drifting sideways. Now, if you already have debt, you're facing a really crucial choice today. The minimum payment mindset is a calculated trap perfectly designed to keep your balance alive forever. It is an endless, exhausting treadmill. You have to completely contrast that with the aggressive attack mindset. Extra payments, zero excuses. Because debt isn't just some abstract number on a bank statement. It is a heavy psychological pressure sitting quietly in the background of your entire life. Every single time you aggressively pay off a balance, you don't just get a nice financial boost, you get a massive mental and emotional boost. You are literally lifting a physical weight off your shoulders. Debt is so deeply psychological, and breaking free from it completely changes your entire posture in life. You walk taller, you breathe easier.
$1,000. This exact number represents another massive common leak, failing to build a cash buffer before you try to do literally anything else. Before you start heavy investing, before you try upgrading your lifestyle, you absolutely need this exact amount sitting safely in a separate account. Why? Because without it, every single unexpected expense, a flat tire, a random medical bill, a leaking pipe in the kitchen, it all feels like a panic-inducing, life-altering crisis. It causes instant, massive stress. But once you have a $1,000 cushion just sitting there waiting, something magical shifts in your brain. That exact same unexpected problem goes from being a total crisis to just a minor, stress-free inconvenience. You just pay it and move on. And the golden rule here is incredibly simple. If you have to use it, you rebuild it immediately. The ultimate goal is absolute control over your environment.
Okay, get ready because this right here brings us to a brutal reality check and our massive midpoint viral hook. We call it the 3 times rule. Here is exactly how it works. If I cannot comfortably buy an item 3 times in cash right now, I cannot afford it, and I do not buy it. Boom. Just think about that for a second. Most purchases feel totally affordable when you only think about the price tag once. But when you apply this brutal rule, the absolute truth is exposed. That $200 impulse jacket you want, it's not a $200 decision. It's a $600 financial impact on your life. The moment you start using this brutal filter, your impulse spending dies almost instantly. It forces you to stop and ask, do I actually want this thing, or do I just want the quick dopamine hit right now?
Let's see how this builds directly into the trap of accidental lifestyle inflation. Look, it happens to absolutely everyone. You start making a little more money, and quietly, almost invisibly, your lifestyle just grows right along with it. Slightly better restaurants, nicer clothes, maybe a slightly more expensive car payment. Before you even know what happened, all that extra income has completely vanished. To survive this, you have to completely flip the script and live below your means on purpose. This is deeply about modesty and intentional living. Step 1, your income increases. Step 2, your lifestyle stays exactly the same. And step 3, you invest the difference. You have to remember, the real goal of making money isn't to look wealthier to your neighbors, it's to actually become wealthier in reality. Don't fall into the incredibly common trap of upgrading your comfort just to show off to people who aren't even paying attention.
Now, this next one is a pretty harsh lesson, but a completely necessary one. We need to talk about casually lending money to friends and family. It almost always starts as a quick favor. Hey, can you spot me real quick? But so often they just don't pay you back. And what was genuinely meant to be a kind, supportive gesture slowly turns into this deep, quiet frustration. The truth is, lending money to people you care about doesn't just risk your capital, it puts the entire relationship on the line. Money should absolutely never create tension between you and your loved ones. So, from the source material, we established this unbreakable rule. If you cannot afford to just give the money away as a pure, expectation-free gift, you shouldn't risk the relationship by lending it. Just say no. Stop creating unnecessary, lingering awkwardness for yourself.
And this brings us to an embarrassing truth I really just have to confess. I was out here trying to build wealth without actually knowing how money works. It's literally like trying to fly a commercial airplane by just mashing random buttons in the cockpit and hoping for the best. You have to patch this knowledge leak by actually learning. And the fix is surprisingly simple. Start by reading just one really good finance book. The source material highly recommends The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It completely rewired how I see spending and risk. Also, make it a habit to invest in a new skill every single month. Most people only ever think about investing in the stock market or real estate, but the absolute best investment is always in your own capability. If your skills grow, your earning power grows naturally. You have to slowly stop thinking like a consumer whose only job in life is to buy things and start thinking like a builder who creates real value.
To fix the massive wallet-draining leak of short-term thinking, you really need to implement the 5-year block filter. From now on, every single non-essential purchase runs through this timeline. Today, you feel that massive, overwhelming impulse to buy something on a late-night Amazon scroll. We've all been there. 2 days later, honestly, the item usually loses its appeal before it even arrives in the mail. But stretch your thinking out further. Ask yourself, in 5 years, will this purchase even matter? That one simple question completely kills short-term stupidity. It separates your fragile ego from your spending habits. Are you buying something because it actually improves your daily life, or are you just buying it to signal status and look successful to complete strangers? Detach your ego, drop the unnecessary expenses, and actually get ahead instead of just looking like you're ahead.
Now listen, absolutely none of the rules we've discussed today matter at all without this one vital step, the monthly financial reset. At the end of every single month, you sit down with a cup of coffee and you review exactly what came in, you review exactly what went out, you adjust your daily habits to fix any new leaks that popped up, and you recommit for the new month. And here is the absolute secret to making this work. You do this with zero shame and zero guilt. Money mistakes are completely 100% normal. Beating yourself up about them is totally useless. But ignoring them, pretending they aren't happening, ignoring them is incredibly expensive. This simple, monthly structured reset turns your finances from a reactive, chaotic mess of anxiety into a calm, proactive, well-oiled system. Which brings us right to our final ending hook. I have to ask you a really provocative question, and I want you to seriously think about it. Are you ready to face your bank statement tonight? Not tomorrow, not next week when you finally get paid again and feel a little better. Tonight. It is absolutely time to stop hiding from your money mistakes. We've just exposed the hidden leaks that are quietly keeping you broke, from those hilariously annoying forgotten subscriptions eating your cheese to the massive, crushing psychological weight of carrying bad debt. You have the actual tools right now: the brutal 3x rule, the 5-year block filter, the guilt-free monthly reset. Stop giving your future away for temporary, fleeting comfort. Open up that app, look at your statement tonight, plug the leaks, and finally take immediate, intentional control of your financial life. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to start right now. You've got this.